Good morning. I'm Linda Callahan, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees of this Unitarian Universalist Society. I use she, her pronouns. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old, in the Zoom and in the sanctuary. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1,000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. As part of our effort to seek feedback on the governance of our congregation, you are invited to join us during the first 15 minutes of any regular meeting of the board, chatting with us during the social hour, or by using the email address board@uusocietyamherst.org. We are grateful to be in community with you. Thank you.
So this morning, I am going to ask you to breathe. Mostly because I need to breathe right now, and peer pressure is good. So I bet you could all stand to breathe also. One of my favorite authors and teachers, T. Thorne Coyle, wrote, "When we speed up inside, we become agitated, clumsy, less precise, overwhelmed. Our central nervous system goes into overdrive, causing a cascade of physiological and psychological ramifications. Our heart rate spikes. Our breathing constricts. Our digestion rebels. We have trouble sleeping, or perhaps we want to do nothing but sleep. Our brains have trouble coping. When we speed up inside, not from bursts of joy or excitement, but from stress or anxiety, we become less effective in how we respond to the world. We react instead of choosing. Right now, we need to slow down because we need to choose. And so today, we are going to breathe so we can choose. And we will be shoring up our metaphorical toolboxes for the dark times ahead, whether those are physical or metaphorical. If you are joining us on Zoom this morning, it might be nice for later in the service to have a string and a bead with you if possible. We'll be using them during the sermon. And there will be extras here at UUSA over the week if you don't have one available today. For those of you here in the sanctuary, I raided my personal bead stash for you. Got you covered. And so I want to invite you to join in our call to worship this morning in a way that is a little different from what we usually do. I like readings by poet laureates as much as the next UU. And we have some of that coming up. Fear not. But if this kind of experiential thing is not for you, I want to encourage you to dig into that piece of you that might like to try new things, or thinks the seventh principle is nifty, or just understands that discomfort passes. So if you're comfortable, I would like to invite you to stand. If you're more comfortable remaining seated, you are welcome to just plant your feet firmly on the ground or feel your body heavy in your chair. If you want to take this practice outdoors later, even better. But here in this space, feel your body solid where you are right now. Keep your knees loose, don't lock them. Right here, surrounded by this community of beings. So take a couple of deep breaths, and if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or simply unfocus your gaze. And on your next breath, breathe in deeply and feel your feet on the ground or your body in your chair. And I want you to imagine roots spreading out down deep through the ground, through the foundation of this building, deep into the earth that holds and supports all of who we are. Down through the bones of the ancestors, people, animals, trees, plants, and stones, through the crystals and the caverns that remain untouched and unseen. Feel your connection to this planet, to that which will remain solid and strong. And I want you, as those roots reach down, to draw up some of that energy into your own body. Feel it, or simply imagine you can feel it rising up through those roots that you sent deep into our mother, and let it rise through you, passing through your feet and your legs, your hips and your belly, strengthening as it reaches your chest, feeling your heart and your lungs before rising up through your shoulders, neck, your head. And as that energy fills all of you, every part of your body, draw your attention to your spine, your shoulders, your neck, and your head, and imagine that energy now branching out, spreading to the others around you, and up through the sky and even beyond that, connecting the deep warmth of the earth that we cannot see with the wide openness of the universe that we can hardly imagine. Allow that wild, luminous light from the sun and stars to flow into you, meeting and mixing and mingling with that solid, grounding energy from below. And stay here, connected for a minute, simply breathing and letting that energy flow, keeping the energy that is helpful and healing, and sending the rest back deep into the earth or out into the universe as you return your awareness to this time and this space. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes or bring your focus back. And as you do that, I invite you to join in kindling another spark of energy as we light our chalice this morning, like so many other congregations are doing right now, at right about this time. Yet another connection that draws us together. Please join in the words of lighting our chalice on the screen or in your order of worship. We light this flame to invite a world of peace, where we heal the wounds, where we share what we have with one another, where justice is another word for relationship, and we listen for what love has to say. And so if there are kids who would like to go downstairs and have a little bit of free play, I'm going to invite you to gather your things now. And again, if you want to stay up here and try it out, you can always head down a little bit later. So we are going to just let this happen.
Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, I'll breathe out love when I breathe in. I'll breathe in peace.
Prepare by Joy Harjo. You are a story fed by generations. You carry songs of grief, triumph, loss, and joy. Feel their power as they ascend within you, as you walk, run swiftly, even fly into infinite possibilities. Let go that which burdens you. Let go any acts of unkindness or brutality from or against you. Let go that which has burdened your family, your community, your nation, or disturbed your soul. Let go one breath into another. Pray thankfulness for this earth we are, for this becoming we are, for this sunlight touching skin we are, for the cooling of the dark we are. Listen now as earth sheds her skin. Listen as generations move one against the other to make power. We are bringing in a new story. We will be accompanied by ancient songs and will celebrate together. I invite you to join me in singing hymn number 55, Dark of Winter.
Has ever been told to take a deep breath? Should all have your hand up. It was like 3 minutes ago. Like anything that we hear a lot, it can become ignorable. It's trite sounding. Like, yes, I passed basic biology. I obviously know I need to breathe. As a teen, I loved this movie called 28 Days, which in retrospect is a weird movie for a 14-year-old to be infatuated with, because it's definitely about a Sandra Bullock character going to rehab. Kids are weird. But she had this line that I think about all the time. She says, "I am so sick of the way you people talk. One day at a time. What is that? Like 2 or 3 days at a time is an option?" And that is how I feel sometimes when people tell me to breathe. But a couple of months ago, I was at a retreat, and one of the people in my small group said, "Big, deep belly breaths." And it kind of nudged a little something in my brain. Like, okay, that was ever so slightly different from the rote, "Take a deep breath," that I was able to pay attention in a space where my brain often kind of closes off. Later, when we were chatting about it, she said, "I love accidentally shooting people with spiritual Nerf darts, giving them that little nudge." So there's a slide, yeah. The last few years have been a lot. The next few years are going to be a lot. And I know that's not true just for me, because this is one of the more polite of the unprecedented times images I found when I ran a quick Google search. For anyone who can't see, it's a picture of a very distressed gray-striped kitten with the words, "Is anyone else sick of living in unprecedented times?" written above it. It's good. We can go back to the pretty mountains now. Winter is notorious for things being rough already, right? Cultures all over the Northern Hemisphere have various traditions that essentially boil down to buckle up and light some candles. I am not exactly looking forward to the next few years, by which I mean I am dreading them with almost every fiber of my being. My head is racing with all of the need tos and the shoulds and the what ifs and the and some other things I don't really want recordings of me saying from a pulpit. My mind gets into that racing, panicky place, and nothing productive is happening when I'm there. Earlier this morning, I shared that piece of writing from Andrew Coate, where they wrote, "When we speed up inside, not from bursts of joy or excitement, but stress or anxiety, we become less effective in how we respond to the world. We react instead of choosing." Slowing down is one of the tools I have been working on becoming more skilled in my use of. Some tools are easier to master than others, which is why we hand small children hammer and peg toys instead of Fisher-Price My First Miter Saw. Practicing and honing the use of those tools takes time. And the more we practice with those tools, the better we are able to use them to adjust and adapt to situations. I know from personal experience that you can use a butter knife to turn a flathead screw. But also screwdrivers are, last I checked, $1.29 at Home Depot, and sometimes the right tool is the right tool. Now, there are always going to be those situations where you just have to brute force your way through and deal with the consequences using that non-ideal tool. Surprise situations come up. Things we thought one tool would work for turn out to need an entirely different tool that you don't have as much practice with. But if we can, to some extent, shore ourselves up with tools, then perhaps more often, not always, we will have the tool for a given situation. And so let's talk about tools. We already practiced one this morning, where I made you all practice being grounded little trees of flowing energy. And I adore you all for indulging me in that. But that is one of my tools. One of the ones that works for me, as silly as I may feel doing it. It took me a long time to feel comfortable using tools that I worried would make me look weird. Learning to ground and center around other people is one of the ways that I have worked on my use of that specific tool. So maybe try it out a few times over the next couple of weeks and see if it's something that you might find useful in your personal life preparedness kit. If you, like me, prefer guidance, I do have a little write-up on some little half sheets and a couple of larger print versions. And they are going to be on this altar table that you will come up to later. This is simply my version, composed of the versions of dozens of others who have led me through this practice, and I encourage you to make it your own. If energetic roots are not your jam, that's fine. Find what resonates with you. Think of all of these tools as suggestions rather than course requirements. I promise you, no one is giving you grades on your meditation practices. And then there's that whole breathing thing. I've already admitted I can get a little snarky when told to breathe. But there is a reason that this is one of the tools we start teaching kids when they're really young. Who has ever been a parent at a store during the holiday season with a melting down child? Shockingly few of you. Wow, congratulations. Because I have. Toddlers have this special ability to just stop breathing, go red in the face, and have an almost silent tantrum for an inexplicable length of time. And you might see a parent, either calmly or not so calmly, telling their child, you have to breathe. Like step one, let's not pass out. We'll work on step two when we get there. But they are giving them those first seeds of a tool, whether that kid likes it or not, and they don't. But there is actual science behind breath work. Slowing your breathing down, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, making your exhale slightly longer than your inhale. Even giving yourself a simple mantra to play in your head as you breathe to keep your focus. That can all help tamp down your anxiety and bring you back towards center. Apologies. So if you would, go ahead and take your right hand and place it over your chest. And take your left hand and just rest it on your belly. And try taking a few of those deep belly breaths. Breathing in and letting your belly expand with that breath. And then taking a little longer on the exhale. Let's do that again. Deep breath in through your nose, and then slowly out through your mouth. The wonderful thing about breath work is that you really can do it anywhere, anytime. Sorry. For any amount of time. Feel free to stay there breathing as long as you need today. I know when I find myself getting flustered, when I've dropped something or everything is going to chaos, I have learned to just stop moving entirely, to take a deep breath before going on with whatever it is I'm doing. Your next tool. This little Altoids tin that I've decorated lives on my altar at home, and by altar I mean the top of my dresser. It's nothing fancy. It is right next to my candles and stones and affirmations on note cards from friends. And these are my psychiatric medications. Unlike the breathing techniques and the grounding and centering, I will not be sending you home with medication for anxiety and depression today. But they live on my altar for a reason, because they are another one of my important tools, just as much as breath work or grounding. And if that is something that you want to explore and experience and see, is that for me? That is another tool you can equip yourself with. Because there are hundreds of tools for you to choose from. What works for you may not work for me. And you might be sitting there right now thinking, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And that's okay. So there's one more tool I want to talk about today. And this is where we get a little arts and craftsy, because it wouldn't be an Andrew service if there wasn't something with string or ribbon. It's true. There are a couple of bowls up here with string and beads. So in a minute, while Brenda plays, you can go ahead and come on down, pick a string and a bead of your choosing. There's no secret meaning behind which beads you pick. I just cleaned out my beading supplies. We also have some folks ready to bring those around if you would prefer to remain in your seat. And we have a few beads that are pre-strung if dexterity is a challenge or not something you particularly want to do right now. So Rachel will help hand out some beads and string. And Adar, would you be willing to hand out the pre-strung ones? So Rachel and Adar are going to help with that, and people are welcome to come up here, line up, and pick up those centering and grounding meditations and their own beads and strings while Brenda plays. Does everyone have a bead? Okay. You can take your bead and put it on your string. If you want to tie it on something that you don't have with you right now, you can just tie a simple loose knot. One of the things that one of the leaders of the small group at that retreat I was talking about said a lot was, what is true right now? That kind of way of saying, hey, that's a lot of thoughts and feelings and worries. Let's practice some mindfulness. What is one thing right now that is irrefutably true? I am standing here. I am talking to you. You are sitting in this building. It is cold outside. Whatever thing is true for you right now, I passed out beads because I personally do better with a tangible thing, a physical thing that is absolutely real in this moment. What is true right now? I am holding this bead. It is solid. It is made of wood. Moving out from there, what else is true? Take a moment. What is true about how your breathing feels right now? What is true about your heart rate? What is true about how your body physically feels? Are you cold, hot, tired, thirsty? What tools do you have to handle just those situations? Drinking water is a tool. Making your body physically comfortable is a tool. Engaging with your spiritual community is a tool. Winter can be rough. Feeling like you need to do everything, something, anything can be rough. And winter is also a time to slow down, as impossible as that feels. And maybe this year, during that slowing down, it is time to curate your own toolbox. Look at things that are no longer serving you. Look to and for new tools that will hold and help you during the dark times. Ground, center, pay attention, and breathe. I invite the congregation to join in our next hymn, All Beautiful, the March of Days, number 57 in your gray hymnal, and the words are also on the screen.
that which is known by many names, yet no name fully known. We gather today with hopes and dreams, and also with fears and wounds. May we be reminded that all things come and go, that today's joys and sorrows will in time give way to those of tomorrow, and that those of us who have strength to share today ought to do so while we can, and that those who are in need ought to allow ourselves to receive. For tomorrow, those roles might well be reversed. Help us remember those who are not here with us today, those who need what we have found here, and those who have what we here need. May we always be open to growth and change, to movement, to grace. In the name of all that is holy, and in all the holy names that have ever been uttered, and those that have not even yet been imagined. Amen.
Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. This day we come once more together as children of earth, call forth our names, like we all from the strength of this circle. May we come rejoicing, determined, united in love of life again.
Changes abound. Around us, within us, between us, in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we each find the balance point we need as we move through our ever-changing world. The balance between old and new, known and unknown, familiar and the perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting. Our service has ended. Let our worship begin. Go in peace.